Hello everyone, I'm Guy, and today I'll be setting up a local area network on a TP-Link router. I have a TP-Link Archer C1200, also known as a TP-Link AC1200. If you've watched my other video, you would know that that is a Wi-Fi 5 router, and it is a dual band. It has one 2.4 gigahertz and also a 5 gigahertz band. I currently have this computer plugged into the back of the router. You could also connect to it wirelessly, and you will find the Wi-Fi name and password on the back of the box. But I have plugged it in, and I've pulled up command prompt on my Windows computer, and I'm going to type in my IP config so I can get the address of the router. So right here we see our default gateway. This is what we're looking for. This one is going to be our router. So I'm going to type this into our address bar up here. 192.168.0.1. All right, and as we see here, we have connected to our router. I'm going to be typing in the password that is in the documentation for the router. As soon as I get in, there's going to be a couple of things that I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to the Advanced tab that we see on this side here. And I am immediately going to jump down to our system tools. The first thing that I want to do is change that admin password. So down here in administration, here goes our old password, and I'm going to type in a new password. So now, since we have changed our password, now only we know it. Now, I would recommend storing this password in a password manager or writing it down physically in a spot that only you get to. The reason why we are doing this is because a lot of manufacturers have the same username and password to get into their routers, and if somebody can connect to your router, even by going up and using WPS, which we will be disabling, or some other means, then they can get in here and manipulate these settings and potentially watch some traffic. All right, so the very next thing that we are going to do is we are going to go down over here to our wireless mode, and we are going to go ahead and click on our WPS. This is also known as Wi-Fi protected setup. This is an outdated technology. If this is not disabled on your router, then you need to go ahead and disable it. So on this one, it is already disabled, so this is perfect. Next up, I'm going to go to the wireless settings, and I am going to leave this network name. Here goes where you would be able to change whichever network name that you would. My favorite would be FBI truck or something along those lines. So right here, we want to make sure that it is on WPA/WPA2. Now, if your Wi-Fi router has WPA3 or WPA2/3, I would recommend choosing this. Do not choose WPA or WEP. These are outdated, and even WPA2 is outdated to an extent. So we are going to keep all of the encryption the same. And if we notice, this is the password that is on the bottom of the router. If you want to keep this password the same, you can, but what I would do is change this password. Also here we can change the channel's width, and we can also change which channel that you're on. This is currently set to auto. If you really don't have experience with channels, or you don't understand how they work, or if you're in a place that has a lot of Wi-Fi crowded wave space, I would recommend playing with these settings to see which one that you have the best reception on. Or you can go ahead and pull out a Wi-Fi analyzer. There's many apps and tools to do that, to see which channel that you can get the best Wi-Fi reception on. Transmit power, in this case, I'm going to leave it on high. So far we have changed the default password to log in, and we also have changed the wireless password and the SSID at this point. WPS is turned off. So let's dive into the status tab. This is going to show you our internet portion, or our WAN, wide area network. If we had anything plugged into the port that had an internet connection, we could see our public IP address here, along with our gateway and our primary domain name server. If we have any, this is giving you an overview of the wireless 2.4 gigahertz and the 5 gigahertz side of the house. Down here we have our LAN information, so you can see our IP address, you can see our subnet, and you can see our DHCP server is on. You can see our guest network. We do not have this currently configured. You would see any USB devices plugged in. Here goes the performance of our current router. Here goes our wire clients and our wireless clients. You can tell that I'm the only one that's wired to this network. So let's jump down to the network tab. I'm going to very briefly go over the internet tab. That was that little thing that we just saw, that little snippet. Our IP address, subnet, default gateway, everything would be here. LAN, same exact thing. You can modify this IP address. We can change our subnet. We can even do a custom one down here. Let me go ahead and jump down to what I think is the most important starting off. So for our DHCP server, so here goes our IP address pool. It looks like that we can pull from about 100 IP addresses. Here goes our address lease time, or how long they are allowed to have it. So if we can see, here goes my current IP address here. So what I want to do is I'm going to add a new address reservation. I'm going to type in my MAC address, and I am going to type in the IP address that I want. So let's go with 192.168.0.115. Going to call this PC. So now I'm going to save this address right here. And now I'm going to reboot the router, and we should be able to see the reflection in our IP address. All right, our router has just rebooted. Let's go ahead and type in that new admin password that we created. Let's jump down here to our advanced settings. Let's go to our network and our DHCP server. You see that we now have the new assigned IP address. We can double check this down here. Typing ipconfig, you see our new IP address is 192.168.0.115. Okay, getting back to it, we have our operation mode. This will let you know which mode your router is in or what modes that they support. Our current router is in router mode, which this basically acts as the router and the wireless access point all in one. This also has an access point mode where you could plug in this device into another router, and then it would just become an access point and not do any routing. We have wireless, which we've been over. You can set up a guest network on this tab. You have network address, translation forwarding, USB settings, parental controls, quality of service, security, IPv6, VPN server, and system tools. We will go over a lot of these in a more advanced, in-depth video, but this is the basics to setting up and maintaining your local area network.